I've put my hand shoulder deep in a horse's vagina.
That is terrifying.
I mean, I had a glove on it.
Jesus, wait, shoulder deep? How deep is a horse's vagina?
Pretty darn.
Hello! So a few months ago, me and my friend Amanda decided to enter into the world of canyoneering. We decided to go do the Subway, which is this really famous canyon in Zion National Park.
We're going to Zion!
Neither of us had ever attempted canyoneering before.
No experience canyoneering, absolutely none. No experience canyoneering, absolutely none.
I know how to rappel.
We do know how to rappel, which I think is fine, which is enough.
Zion is a 10-hour drive from Santa Cruz, which is where we're based. After work on like a Thursday, we started driving through the night and got to Las Vegas at like 5 a.m. Driving with Amanda is always shenanigans.
Amanda, would you like to list for us all the ways that we could die?
Rappelling down a waterfall and then getting pushed down by the flow of the waterfall. A flash flood coming and washing me under one of those choke stones. We could get lost. We could have 127 hours type scenario. Coyotes, killer bees. You could drown in an inch of water. Someone could murder us. That's the most likely.
I could murder you.
Please do.
We only got 3 hours of sleep in the 2 days that it took us to drive to Zion. So once we got there, we deliriously checked into the permit office. We settled in, packed our stuff, and got ready for the 5 a.m. wake-up call.
We're gonna leave from here to go up to Left Fork Trailhead. Make breakfast. It's like 5:30 in the morning.
We organized with a local shuttle service, and they picked us up 6 a.m., drove us to the top of Wildcat Canyon, and then we just started hiking down. The trail is obvious for the most part, but when you start beginning the true descent into the canyon, the trail starts to vary, and Amanda and I got lost and almost went completely off trail.
So we're talking about cairns. Like, cairns are amazing because then you know where you are all the time, but the problem with cairns is that sometimes you'll be walking and you'll just see like a rock stacked on another rock and you're like, is this a cairn? Or is this naturally occurring? Like the lazy man's cairn is literally just 2 rocks.
As soon as we got into the canyon, we saw the river, and it was freaking beautiful. It's also kind of impossible to get lost after this point because it's just a river. Like, you just follow the river until you leave. The river is really, really cold, so I'd recommend wearing like a wetsuit or booties. The first rappel is at a place called the Boulder Field Obstacle, and it's really short and really easy. And there's 2 ways to do it. You can either go over the face, or there's 2 rappel rings that you can go to that kind of rappel you into this cave that also lands on the beach, and we actually decided to do that because it seemed like way more fun. The guide that we had said it was called the Rabbit Hole, which I kind of liked.
She's going down. She's going down right now.
Where do you go?
It's happening.
Wow, that's so weird. I've never gone through that way.
I know.
Usually we go that way.
It's really,
You know that?
it's really short.
So once you finish the first rappel, just keep going down and you'll get to some beautiful pools.
Wow, you are so much shorter than me. It goes up to your nerves.
This is where you have to swim for the first time, which was really fun, but cold. And swimming with a backpack on is really awkward. It keeps you floating, but it's super uncomfortable.
Are you okay?
Wasn't great.
And like kind of brings you up around your neck. After this short swim is when the hike starts to get really beautiful. You get a lot of this like classic Subway kind of features that are like hollowed out like this.
Blurbles, blurbles. Wow, that is beautiful. Oh man. But,
After swimming / walking through the canyon for a little while, you'll come to the second rappel. This is definitely the most beautiful rappel, in my opinion, and it's also probably the most difficult. It's not very long, maybe 10 to 15 feet, but you rappel off of this rock, and it rappels you through a waterfall onto this kind of slippery log, or at least there was a log when I was there. Once you get there, you kind of open up into these beautiful emerald pools and like rock features that I've just never seen anywhere else. So after this rappel, I'm not sure if you enter like the Subway proper or if you enter like a pre-Subway experience, because you go into this feature that is kind of like the Subway look, and there's the North Pole, which is basically just this tree that's fallen over that's sticking like straight up out of the ground, and everybody takes a picture with it.
this is the famous vlog!
And it is really beautiful. And there's Keyhole Falls, which is like these really cool little waterfalls that have made these keyhole shapes in the ground. And so that's where we rested, and we had lunch, and we did some shenanigans, and we kept going, and you finally get to the third rappel.
It's the only one so far that looks like a real rappel.
which is the last one you'll have to do. This rappel is the longest. It was like 30 feet instead of 15 feet, and you kind of rappel over near a waterfall, so it gets really loud. But if you swim into the pool where the waterfall is, and then behind it, there's this giant chamber where you can kind of hang out in, which is kind of cool. When I was there, the water was so high you couldn't stand there, so I'm not sure if when the water's lower, you can. Leaving the subway is when canyoneering just turns back into hiking. You start seeing these really cool flat formations where water's trickling down and it's very slippery. Amanda and I actually had a lot of fun sliding on our stomachs down a particularly slippery section. And that was really, really fun.
I'm sorry. We just laughed.
After a while, we shed our wetsuits and put on our regular clothes. We started to warm up again. Make sure to check out the dinosaur footprints. And it blew my mind.
That is so insane.
Like, Utah already looks like a scene from Jurassic Park, so it just blew my mind. You could just totally imagine like giant creatures roaming around in this area that's just so otherworldly. So after hiking / rock hopping for about 2.5 miles, you'll see a small sign on the right side of the river, and that is kind of like your direction up and out. And you'll be at the parking lot at the bottom of the canyon. And you can go pick up your car and then drive away.
Good. You're doing good?
Day well.
Yeah.
Day well done.
Well, we did it, and it was so easy.
It was.
Like, we were very concerned that we were getting ourselves into, like,
And
a
now I
bullshit
feel like when I
situation.
tell-
It was, like, 10-foot rappels.
The hike was hard. Overall, it was hard.
The crux was the hike.
The hike
100%.
I liked the going out, like starting.
Well, we also found out that a lot of people don't do it with permits. So don't do that, because like if you get caught without a permit, it's a $300 ticket. We just saw somebody getting a ticket. Now we're gonna go make some chili mac, which is the victory food of all great adventures. Recipe included in the link in the comments below.
This was a really great introduction into canyoneering because it was super easy. We really over-prepared for this situation. Both of us were kind of nervous. We'd never done canyoneering before, and we were like, oh no, we're gonna get into this situation. We're way over our heads. And we go out there, and we met a bunch of people who were doing it without ropes. They were just climbing down. If you're gonna do this, I'd recommend packing really light, and I would not recommend going if there is a rain warning. Flash floods happen in slot canyons in Utah, particularly in this subway area. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Canyoneering in Zion was awesome. If you want to see more pictures of me adventuring around North America in this Sprinter van, you can follow me on Instagram at OneChickTravels. Check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/OneChickTravels. Go to my website and buy any of these things in my van at OneChickTravels.com. Go to Twitter and find me at Kaya Says. And if you have any questions, let me know as always, and I'll see you next time.
And we were waiting for a horse to give birth overnight, and we just sat in the back of a pickup truck, and then at like 4 in the morning.
And so what part of that scenario required you to stick your hand in the horse's
you
vagina?
feel to make sure that the baby is coming out the right way.
Oh, this is a pregnant horse. Like, I just assume that horses' vaginas aren't all like a yard deep.
No, they aren't.
How many horses' vaginas have you?
Just that one.
What kind of scientist are you?
A marine scientist.
How many uteruses have you stuck your hands into? Like, is this a recurring science thing, or is this just...
counting my own?
No, you don't have to count your own.
Just one.
So it's you and the horse.
Who else would I have built the uterus of?
I don't know. Like, small animals,
I know
like
you're
fish.
Fish. Fish's uterus.
Do fish have uteruses?
Yeah, well, live-bearing fish.
I don't know.
Live-bearing.
I don't know. Do chickens have uteruses?
Yeah. Wait, do they?